Hello and welcome to the second to last presentation for this class. This presentation is accompanying the Milestone 5 work this week. I'm not exactly sure why two presentations are required since Milestone 5 was the wrap-up, but I'll try to touch on different things in each presentation. So here for our final Heroku build, you can see we have the auto deploy on the Heroku branch. So this is referencing inside of Git, it's going to auto deploy anything that's pushed to the Heroku branch. Now in class we talked about CI/CD, the process by which things are continuously developed and continuously integrated. So the way that it works with Heroku is, let's say we have an application that is hosted or not hosted but is housed inside of Git. We uploaded it to GitHub rather, and what this means is that obviously we could be working on separate branches, each of us. We can have a main branch, then we could have branches off of that, and no changes will be pushed to the app as long as they're not pushed to the Heroku branch. So that's really useful in terms of you can open a new branch and test things out, and then if you end up breaking the code catastrophically to where you can't figure out how to get it back, all you have to do is delete that branch and return back to the main branch. If you didn't have this sort of functionality, then you'd have to be much more careful with making large changes in code. Sometimes, there's a certain sector of your app which needs almost a complete overhaul in order to achieve a desired outcome. And if you are building it and you're just working right in the main branch and all your pushes are being deployed to the actual website, then you'll have users trying to visit, and if you were to push something to test it and it crashes the app when the user goes to load your web page, they're going to be experiencing all of your new test builds and the various things that you're working on, and that could break certain portions of the website, and that could leave you vulnerable to attacks. So using some sort of implementation like this with continuous integration and continuous development is huge in terms of keeping your app stable and keeping it working. We talked a lot about hosting platforms and their guaranteed uptime with the 0.9s, but that only really works well if the actual code is functioning. Otherwise, you could have your app, it's hosted fine, your hosting is working, it's up, but your app isn't actually working. And obviously the cloud providers have no guarantees on that end because you're the one writing the code. So that's something that I really wanted to touch on, as it's extremely important, especially when you get multiple people developing. You're going to have tons of branches, and you're only going to want to merge in once all of your offshoot branches have been deployed. And actually, for this presentation, I would like to pull up a little bit of an illustration for this. We'll do a simple illustration in Microsoft Paint. So let's say we have our app, right? Here we go. This is our application right here. And this is our initial Git upload, right? We initialize the Git and we upload it into Git. So that's the initial one right there. And now let's say I have to start working on the visual elements of the application. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually branch off of this right here. So I'll branch off, and this will be known as this will be the visual. Excuse the handwriting with the mouse. This is the visual right here. So this is going to be the first version. So this would be 0.1. And then let's say I get to make a lot of progress, and I worked on it for several hours, and then I push another one right here. And actually, for the purposes of this demonstration, this line is not going to exist yet. Alright, so let's say I've made a lot of progress on the visual elements of it, but I'm having a hard time implementing some JavaScript that I need to implement, and whether it's to show errors or to have dynamic page updating. So if we were building an app where we wanted to, like let's say we were building a Spotify web application and we wanted users to be able to click songs and play them without the whole page refreshing, right? And I said, I got the visuals down, but I need help from one of my classmates on creating some of this JavaScript. So then they could actually branch. They could pull my branch and they could create their own branch off of this branch. So now they're working here, right? And I'm still working, and I make more progress on the visuals, and I upload another one, right? And then they're saving changes here. They're making pushes to Git, all right? And then let's say finally I finish my visual effects, so I push my final visual effects, and they push their final JavaScript effects right there. And let the length of these lines represent, how much work or how much data was pushed, so they'd be different lengths. So then what we're going to end up doing is saying, okay, we're good to go to add the JavaScript changes into the visual. So then he's going to add them in here, and this branch will be closed now, and it will merge into here, right? And these branches right here won't be deleted. They'll still be held in history just in case we need to revert back. Let's say when we do the merge, something goes wrong. We can always revert back and undo those changes. And that's the great thing about Git. It's not like if you commit changes, your whole application gets messed up. So now let's say everything goes well, right? And we decide the JavaScript and the visuals look great. Let's push it onto the main. So this has actually been running in Heroku the entire time, and users have been using our application and liking it. So that's when we would release the actual newest build, right? So this branch is going to merge into here, and this will be our latest build right here. So this would be build 0.2, right? And that's, whenever you update an app and you get the new terms of service, if you updated anything in your terms, that's when you would let the user know, hey, this is a new version. And now this will be running. Okay, and the things that we tested here are what exactly is going to be pushed to here. So there's no unknowns, right? Like we wouldn't want to merge two branches into our main app. We wouldn't want to merge something that was branching off up here and going. We would want to merge everything into a working offline branch first, and then merge it onto the cloud. So that's just a little bit regarding the advantages of doing it this way. And I'll dive more into the actual app in the final presentation. But I wanted to clear that up for the final presentation here, because I think that's a very important thing to understand going forward, and that's one of the things that I learned in this class, which is a huge help in terms of when you get on a team, being able to understand that and work on your own and add constructive changes rather than just breaking things. I know that could be an issue first starting, so yeah, appreciate you taking the time to listen to this, and I will be making the final presentation in a bit. Thank you.